morning, everybody. We're getting ready to start the webinar with my beautiful friend, Tine. I can't wait for you guys to get to hear what all she has to say. Today's Wednesday, May 28th or no, 23rd, 2018, sorry, 23rd, 2018. And we are getting ready to have her talk about reincarnation therapy for past, present, and future healing. I have to say, you guys know on these videos, I never do the real professional bio and all of that kind of stuff, because you can look up all of that stuff on your own by going to her website and everything else. All the information will be given to you later. If you're watching the replay, look underneath, you'll have the information for her website and how to get a hold of her and all of those things. All you need to know is she's amazing, she's fantastic, and I've done a regression therapy with her before, and it was fantastic, phenomenal. The one thing that I will say is, if you ever do a past life regression, be sure you're working with somebody that you trust. It's really hard to get into that space of relaxing and releasing and being in that hypnosis state if you're not feeling comfortable and if you don't trust who you're working with. So I feel like I need to say that right now, because discernment has been coming up really big for me lately. So I just want to throw that out there as well. So that being said, I'm just going to turn it over to my beautiful friend, let her tell you all the good stuff about herself so that she can introduce herself, and then she'll get right into the webinar. I do have the chat box open. Remember that if you're on the webinar, that you know that we're being recorded. We may use this later. If you don't want to be seen, please turn off your video, all of that good juicy stuff that you've heard me say probably a million times before. There was a little glitch with Eventbrite getting the registration done, and I know that she's going to give us a fantastic offer at the end of this. And I don't know if you're going to talk about astrology at all, but are you offering astrology readings still?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Mainly, but also in my office in Lakewood. So that's correct. Okay. Yes.
So if you want to get an astrology session, I know we're not talking about that today, but again, check out our website, because again, it was one of the best astrology readings I've ever had as well. So she really explained my chart in a whole new way that nobody, other people hadn't really explained to me that way. So it was really, really powerful. So that being said, I'm going to turn it over to her and let her get started on everything. And we'll make sure we have all the information later. If you didn't get registered on Eventbrite, please either message me, or we can put in here in the chat box what your email address is, so that I can make sure to get the replay to you and get all the good information. And if you watch this, if you're here registered, you'll be getting a specific offer that we'll need your email to be able to send to you. So that being said, let's get started.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer, for having me. And hello to everyone. I can't see you, but I'm happy to share a little bit about past life regression. Just briefly, a little bit about me. I am from Sweden originally. I moved here to Colorado 4 years ago. I am a trance medium mainly, but I'm a certified past life and life between lives regression therapist, and that is what I do with clients. Astrology as well, Jennifer, like we did as well. So I still do astrology. I work a lot online overseas, but I also have an office here in Lakewood, Colorado. So today, the topic is past life regression and reincarnation therapy, which for me personally has been the greatest tool for my own personal and spiritual development, I must say. I did my first session back in 2009, and I was just hooked by the fact that I could connect past to present in such a profound way, and learn from that and try to not create new karma, like I always keep telling people about. You know, we get in contact with things to help us improve and develop and evolve as souls, and to hopefully maybe not do the same mistakes again. And that is all about karma, of course. Just some facts about reincarnation that I think is kind of fascinating, and it differs a little bit between countries. In the US, about 25% believe in reincarnation. In Europe, the number is a bit higher. It's about 33 to 35% that believes in reincarnation. If you go over to Asia and the Buddhist, of course, the number is even higher, of course. But when it comes to believe in the afterlife, the number in the US is 80%. So people here believe in the afterlives. And in Europe, that number is kind of low, actually. It's just 50%. So we have two very different societies, and working with both Europeans and the US, it's, I can see how that affects a lot of not only the sessions itself, but also the way we believe and the way we progress. So reincarnation is just the belief that life goes on, that is only a transition of being, and we come back. It's not a lottery that you get to get a wealthy, good life or a poor life, if that is the case. We have all got the same amount of fortune, the same amount of struggles. It's not someone who sits and dictate our fortunes. And that is the belief in reincarnation. That is just a change of being from soul to physical. And reincarnation also imply, of course, if there are lives on other places than Earth, which we're not going to be talking about today, but that is a lot of the topics that comes forward in life between lives regression that you, Jennifer, also has.
That's what I was just going to say. I think I need to re-say that. I said I did a past life regression, but I did between lives regression with you, and it was fantastic.
That's correct. Yeah. So, and there are actually sometimes even during past life regression, but it actually happens that clients go to existences that are non-Earth based. But life between lives is to explore that possibility if that is something that your soul is doing. Did I lose you, Jennifer?
Nope, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. It was just my screen turned black. So this is just about past life regression. You know, at a later time we might talk about life between lives.
You know, I would love to have you come back to that at some point. I think for right now, the past life regression is so interesting to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I feel like it's been interesting because being, and I know a lot of people on here are the same, like being raised in that Christian background, a lot of people are not real sure like if they believe in that or not. The interesting thing is scientifically, even if it is just that your cell memory or your data, you know, that somebody's making some noise. I'm trying to find out where it's coming from so I can mute it, but I can't. Yeah, I can hear that clicking.
Okay, maybe it's gone.
Maybe I'm going to try. I don't know where that's coming from.
I think I saw someone come in through the phone.
Yeah, but the phone's muted, so it's fine. So I apologize for that. Anyway, so I don't know where that's coming from. It's not from my headset, is it? Yeah, who knows? Who knows? It is what it is. We'll just go with it. But anyway, so it's fascinating to me because I know that I've had experiences where I remember so clearly. And I don't know, Bonnie, can you try to mute yourself? I'm wondering if it's coming from you. I tried to stop the video to see if that would make a difference, but I can't put you on mute for some reason. So if you're working while you're on here, if you could mute yourself, that would be great. Maybe that might have done it. Nope, it's still clicking. Okay. Anyway, so back to the past life. It's interesting to me because I've had the experiences with it, and a lot of people are like, well, how do you explain that when it's not in the Bible? And you and I, Tina, have had this conversation. So, but I just feel like it's valuable to say because a lot of the scientifically, they're starting to say that maybe you even have DNA memory. So regardless of how this is coming, there's so many people that have experienced it or have these memories or those kind of things. You can't deny that there's some validity to it, whether that's memories that's passed down in your family, or if it's memory that is passed down in your DNA or your cells, or if it really is past life regression, which I really do believe in the past life history just because of my own experiences. So
I normally tell people, you know, doing past life regression, when we talk about that specific topic, whether to believe or not to believe, some people would see the session as completely genuine and completely real. And all the details will be profound and they will completely believe in that.
It's amazing.
Yeah, but some people, you know, and I explained that, you know, it's, you know, you might see it as just metaphors, but it doesn't really matter which, as long as you adapt and, you know, take whatever you explored and put it in some sort of context for your current life. We all have free will, of course. Whatever we experience is, you know, if we don't act on it, it might not be, long term, or like a short lived memory, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of these people, and I also talk about that a lot, whatever you explore during your session, investigate. You can even Google, look into, like a guy I had yesterday. He experienced a life where there was uniforms and in a military time, and he was specific with the days. I said, Google, just see, give yourself that validation. And if that specific uniform existed in the US, which was this case. And he sent me an email this morning saying, I found it. Those little things is just to give you the validation.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless of whether you believe or not believe, the information that you get, that if it makes sense, which I've never heard a client saying, this does not make sense to my life.
Right.
First. So it's what we do with that information.
Mm-hmm. And how it can help us.
Yeah, exactly. And just to talk a little bit, because we're using hypnotherapy doing past life regression. So first of all, what is past life regression and what it is not? Past life regression therapy, reincarnation therapy, is not a reading. That is something that I thought everyone understood this, but it's just because you go from yourself and what you think and what you believe. But I've actually come in contact with a lot of people thinking that I'm going to do a reading for them. And I was like, no, it's not me giving you a reading. I'm not giving you a past life. I'm not telling you what I see in your past lives. You are the one doing this, and we're using hypnotherapy. So you are the one exploring your own past. I simply help all these windows to open up. You are the engine. I don't implant my beliefs, or even if I get a sense of where I think the session is going, it's not the therapist's work or job to put in their thoughts. I ask questions so that you will tell me. So it's much more, it gives so much more for the individual because they are exploring it themselves. Mm-hmm. I have clients coming and say, I had a past life reading and someone said that I was a nun. Okay, but today let's explore that for yourself. Mm-hmm. If you are a nun, then, fine. But don't be, and it's the same thing with lives between lives, people have ideas because a psychic or someone has told them something, but mm-hmm. I want them to, investigate and experience firsthand. And that is so much more, valuable for the individual, of course. Because, of course, we have everything within. We don't need someone to tell us. We just need someone to help us to get in contact with these memories, sleeping memories, like I call them. Mm-hmm. So it's not a reading, first of all. We use hypnotherapy, and that is something, hypnosis, that I also talk a lot about, because there is a lot of fear with just the word hypnosis. Mm-hmm. So I talk a lot about that, and it's a very natural state. You only go to a level which will be considered like deep meditation. And you don't have to go deeper than that, which is called the alpha state. You don't have to go deeper than to that level to access past life memories and past life details. When you do life between lives regression, you go to an even deeper state, which is called theta, which is more like a dream state, if you like. And you remember that, Jennifer.
Yeah, it was incredible. I had never, my physical body had never felt so relaxed, but I felt like I was still completely cognizant of what was going on.
Yeah. So, and that is the whole thing. I talk about that all the time. You have, always control, and you could potentially stand up at any time and sort of trot off. You're not going to do it fast, but you can. Mm-hmm. All this combined gives people a sense of security. I don't have any sort of magic power that I'm putting people down. They have no control. That's not at all how this works. So whatever we see on TV, I have no idea how that works at all. So you are guided by me. If you want to do a past life regression, you are guided into that meditative state. It only takes about 15 minutes, and then we enter a past life. So just that short about hypnosis, and if someone has questions about that I will be happy to answer more about that, of course. But it is important to know that we are always in control, that it's not someone who has some sort of power over us when we're doing this, because, you know, you might feel vulnerable. I did that the first time I did my session. I you know, and like you said, Jennifer, it's all about being feeling safe and secure with the one you're working with. And, you know, we all have different tools in our toolbox and different skills. I work a lot with my spirit guides, since, you know, I am psychic and a medium. So I work a lot with my spirit team and also with the clients. A lot of times, you know, I'm clairaudient mainly, so I can hear the client's spirit guide saying to me in some way, you know, guide them to this. And I those spirit team charge of the whole session. I just sort of, you know, conduct it and help with all these windows to unfold and open. So working with past life regression, you will never experience anything that is more than you can handle. Your soul and your subconscious more evolved and clear on what you need than our conscious self. So even if you might think that this might be something that is, you know, oh, what if I get over my head? Then you are ready for that experience. Your soul and your spirit team are, you know, like I said, they are in charge of this process in general. It's very important to just, you know, be open and to not analyze. When we start analyze, you know, things can start to become something very different. So like you said, Jennifer, it is important to be relaxed and feel comfortable with the process. So, you know, why do people book past life regressions normally? Well, they come normally with, maybe they have just a curiosity. Do I believe in reincarnation or not? It can be as simple as that. And that could be the main goal, to get that clarification for oneself. You know, do I believe in this or not? People can have a specific interest in an era or historic event. They can be drawn to, like, the Renaissance time and just wonder more about that. But mostly it is to unfold our why we act in one way, why we feel in another way, why we have these fears of certain things, why we don't, you know, fully live our life, you know, these blockages that we encounter in life. It's about recognizing our behaviors and patterns that might not be, you know, working as well, you know, as good for us. So a lot of these sessions highlights very much that is adaptable in your present life, that you can work with. Personal behavior, feelings, fears, blockages. A lot of it is about relationships. And with relationships, it can either stem from our biological family or, you know, a partner relationship. So relationship concerns, I would probably say, well, it's probably about 60 to 70% of all sessions that will bring forward those sort of topics. And it could be, you know, why people hesitate in certain things, and they can get an answer by exploring a past. All of this is to highlight cell memories or soul memories, and we will talk about that, what that can be, because they are in different categories. But past life regression is to activate cell memories, soul memories that we might not be aware of them. But once they come up to the surface, we can work with them. But it could be, you know, fears or phobias as well. I had fears of water, you know, high sea. I didn't want to go on a boat. And that was the reason why I did my first past life regression. It was to try to see where that came from. And once I understood, it didn't delete the fear. If I ever go on a big cruise ship and it start to rock, believe me, I would be, you know, afraid again. But I can use the power of my mind to think and to work on it in a way that, okay, this complete fear that I feel now, it stems from a life when it didn't go that well. This time it's probably going to go well. It's just going to be a little bit rocky. So that's how you can work with it. If we think of a behavior, for instance, let's say that you have several lives where you've been, working with aggression, and you still have a problem with being angry a lot. Once you see that, oh God, there is a long lineage here of that behavior, then use that information to channel whatever you feel in a different way. And that is soul evolution. That is how we develop and evolve. So another part of why people book past life regressions can also be that there are symptoms, physical, mental, or emotional, that you want to understand where is this coming from. I had a client who had a problem with her back, and she didn't understand where these pains came from, because she said, I haven't done anything. Maybe it stems from a past life. So we went back, and sure enough, it did. So with that understanding, it's all about identifying something and then disidentify from a feeling or a behavior, and that's how you transform, and that's how you have the ability to heal.
I was just gonna say, there's the first time I ever experienced a past life regression therapy, I didn't even know really that's what I was gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, I was at the Body Mind Spirit Fair in Denver. I still didn't even know if I believed in past lives. I really didn't even know. I just kind of thought, well, I'll just get a session just to see what happens. And it was so interesting to me because I had all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, a little bit before this happened, like 2 years before this even happened, I had just started getting this really irrational fear that my husband was going to like die. Like, it was we were in our 30s, like there was no really any reason why I should be feeling this way. And it was so crazy to me. Now, when I first did this very first session, I didn't even have it on my radar that that's what I was going for, right? Like, I just literally was going to get a session just to see what it was about and see what happened. Well, in that session, what happened is the lady that brought me into it, and it was like a mini session. It was very quick. It was like 20 minutes, because it was at the fair. But what happened was she brought me into this, and I could literally clearly see myself as a Native American. I don't know exactly what kind, but my husband, who is now my husband, passed away and it was about that age. So when she did that and it cleared, it was so bizarre to me that just that in itself, like that fear just went away.
Yeah.
It was so bizarre.
How these cell memories, it comes up to the surface, we identify it, and we can heal and transform from it. And another thing is also to just, if we think of physical cell memories, and we will talk about, I'm going to go into that here, it can actually stem from an emotional or mental problem, but if not addressed, it can manifest in a physical problem. So a lot of, like with that woman I had with her back, I was trying to figure out if there was anything underlying emotionally or mentally that was triggering this in her current life. In that specific case, it had to do with that in the past life she was betrayed, and she was taken by the Catholic Church. This was in medieval time, and she was tortured in her back. The whole thing, I said, how is your life today? Do you feel like you lack the sense of trust with people? Do you feel like you've been stabbed in the back? And she said, yes, I have friends who have, misled me, and I feel like I've been stabbed in the back. And I said, that is why, you're so, because you have not processed this in the past life, maybe several lives, we don't know, but not in this life as well. So when that comes up, it manifested again in her back.
In physical pain.
In physical pain. So it was a question. So a lot of times, you want to see if it is, an emotional or mental thing, like a fear or a feeling that is actually the core of the problem.
Right.
So when we talk about cell memories, the fact is that we wander around here on Earth in our current life, a lot in past life energies. And if they are not addressed, they will come and they will repeat in some way. So these past life energies, it can be, it can create fears, it can create doubt, anxiety, anger, like I talked about. One woman had that as like a problem, and she actually identified where that anger came from. And every time in her current life, when she was facing a specific event, that triggered. So she wasn't angry all the time, but with certain things, work related and stuff like that. But if we don't work with it, like I said, it actually just sort of stores and it doesn't go anywhere. And when we come back into body, we will have to encounter that again, because we have not learned and evolved and released and healed from something. So the cell memories, like I said, can be emotional, mental, or it can be physical. To not go into details, we talk a lot about this in our book that we released last year, which is more about how they are stored, but we don't have time to really go into the details of that. But just know that we all have these different memories from existence, normally from Earth-based lives. So emotional cell memories can be lack of self-love, feeling guarded in relationships, to be sensitive to other people's opinion, have low self-esteem. So that is a lot. I would say that that's probably the biggest box that I work with doing past life regressions. And there's no difference, Europe, the US, that is actually very much the same. What can differ between nations is more the background of the people, like we talked about here, that it can be more that they feel that they are chained by either a very religious upbringing, whereas in Scandinavia, for instance, the same feeling, which is more of a mental cell memory, I would assume, normally stems for more of a scientific society. So that it's just different, but it creates the same sensation within us that we might feel locked or chained,
constricted,
restricted. So the mental cell memories, they are more the like phobias, like for me, scare of water.
the fear of water.
Yeah. So phobias, even other mental issues. A lot of people have a fear of speaking up. I can't tell you how many that comes and say, I don't really my spiritual, beliefs, how I communicate with loved ones, or, that I feel my intuition is such a thing. All of us have had, and this is a collective cell memory, that we feel that we can't have a voice, and we might be afraid to speak up about our connection to the spirit realm and to our soul, because of the fact, that in the past it didn't go that well. We were burned, and there are all these memories stored within us that if I speak up, that equals death. Well, guess what? In this time and age, it's not. We might be a little bit, pushed or, questioned, but we're not going to be put on a pole.
Right.
We're not going to that whole thing. But it still is a memory of that. And so that is one of the mental, I would say, that is the strongest, is the fear of speaking up, because that could equal some sort of punishment and not to be believed. A lot of people have that, a feeling of, if I tell them this, I'm not going to be believed. I'm going to be, made fun of or something like that. So that is also a part of the mental cell memories. Physical, it can be birthmarks. something just as simple as that. And which actually can stem from a past life in some way. Another physical, which a lot of people have, is can be like a line, and you can see that on some people. They have a line on their throat. And that is actually a memory, or it could be a memory of, you know, being beheaded in a past life or something like that. So, you know, you can Google a lot about this, about especially the physical and physical cell memories, to just see. And if you have anything, you know, investigate that. If it might be something that is a physical cell memory or emotional or mental. So regardless, we all have a blend of these in some way, just waiting to be lift up and looked at in some way, so that we can work with that and hopefully transform and do things differently. So in general, working with past life regression is a lot about healing cell memories, I would say. That is the bottom line of why we are doing this. But we have to be open, and we have to welcome the process. So it is also the fact that we have to do a little work. Right. It's not like a magic spell that's going to happen on the table and then you go home and then, you know, and you're all cured. So yeah. We have to put in the work, and no difference, you know, whether you've been doing several past lives or if you just done one, it doesn't really matter. We still have to use that knowledge and be able to, you know, rise above and work with it. So a lot of course, is also about karma, you know, understanding karma, understanding these imbalances, and to somewhat also see, you know, what did I do before? You know, how can I channel that for the better in this one, in this life? Karma is not necessarily, you know, we talk about karma and dharma. Dharma is more like life purpose, which is mainly what we discover in life between lives, but it can actually be found even in past life regressions. And it can be similar, like, you know, you find out that you have a very creative side and you didn't know that, but you experience a past life where these possibilities are lifted forward. Of course, it is to help you in your current life. So whatever you explore and whatever you experience is for your benefit. It is to help you, your spirit guide work on your behalf. It is to help you be the best that you can be in this life, regardless of how you work with your spirit guides and your soul, whether you use meditation only, or it doesn't really matter. It's all about taking the information that we get and use that to our own progress, really. So, you know, when you think of karma, it's, if we take it to a little bit further, even countries have karma. Because karma is personal and it belongs to a specific geographic place. I can talk about karma so much because that's one of my a topic that I really feel provides so much insight in general, not just on a soul level. But in order for us to be able to balance whatever might be in, you know, the lack of balance, you know, we have to identify and we have to be, you know, welcoming the lessons and not put on some sort of blinds and think, oh, no, that's not me. I have never had anyone saying, like I said, this information doesn't make sense. So I think that we can, I don't know the time we're at, but I would be happy to take questions.
To open up for questions. So I'll just, I'll go ahead and unmute everybody. And then just, if you have questions, go ahead and let us know. Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just really curious about karma.
What is it Anything
Like,
specific?
Well, how do you view karma? I'm I guess, there's the traditional, we come in with karma from a past life, and we have a lot of things we're working out in this life from past karma, and we add to our karma if we're, not doing things well, and so forth. So I don't really understand karma all that well, and so I'm just trying to get a handle on.
I will give explanation that we have in our book that actually from our book is actually based on channel material, since I told you in the so this the info what oh it's some sort of
I'm gonna mute that, sorry.
Okay. So the way, and we have it in our book, that our spirit guide was talking about karma. He actually, and they talk a lot in metaphors, so that it's easy for a human mind to comprehend. So he was talking about the code of karma, meaning that when we come into physical, we come into this body, but we also dress in our coat, the code of karma, which has everything stored from past lives here. When we come in and we choose a life, we activate certain things that we on a soul level want to work on in physical as a human. We don't activate the whole code. Let's say that I come in this life and I want to work on some emotional imbalances, let's say, and that is true because that is what I wanted to do in this life. Then a lot of this code will activate events and situations for me to encounter emotional things that will trigger my respond and work on my emotional development and healing and transformation. When we leave a life, when a life has been completed, the way they describe it is that we just sort of take off our coat and we leave it sort of hanging. So when the soul go into the spirit realm, the soul is always pure. Anything that happens on the soul level when we do a life review, which we do when we return into our spirit home base, that only concerns the coat. The soul is always pure. So all our actions on earth is stored in this code of karma. I love that explanation because it gives such a clarity on how karma works. So if we have had existences on other places than earth, that will be a different coat. When I come back into a life here, I can't pick Jennifer's coat because Jennifer's is much nicer than mine. I will have to dress in my own coat because that is how I can work on the things that is personal from my soul when I come to earth. So we have all different things stored when it comes to karma. And it is just a leftover. So karma creates a ripple effect over space and time. And we come back and we try to work on it. From a spirit level, when we are in the spirit realm, everything is, crystal clear. But when we come into body, different aspects, different things makes it unclear. And we have to navigate to work on different things, karmic imbalances. And it's all about healing and understanding patterns, for instance. The way they describe it also is that once we have fulfilled and learned and grown from all these different things, and yes, you can accumulate new karma if you do completely the opposite from what your soul is telling you or what your intuition, your gut feeling, call it whatever you want. If you go against that, you go against that inner voice, then yes, you can accumulate new karma in your coat, so to speak. The way they describe it is after a certain time, and when we have evolved during numerous lifetimes here, then yes, the coat will be folded. That's how they say it, meaning that we don't have karma here anymore. However, if our soul feel like I want to go to earth, even if you don't have karma anymore here, then you can still reincarnate or incarnate here on earth. And they talk about that there are actually several souls at this time on earth that has no code of karma, that simply come here to help and to develop. So my feeling when it comes to karma is a lot about that. It is to understand, you know, in my case, it was the emotional thing. Emotionally triggered, and that's, you know, we need to work on, and hopefully I did well.
Do we have family karma?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that, I forgot that. One of the key things when doing past life regression, you know, one of the most profound things that people experience is when we recognize souls. When we recognize, you know, my daughter, for instance, she has been with me in so many lives. She has the same theme or the same teaching for me every time we meet in different constellations. So just the fact that we see our current people in past constellations, which can be different, and it can be the same. So yes, we can have karma absolutely within family. To, for instance, you know, work on different things. That last time around, I didn't treat you that well. And I need to understand, or I didn't listen to you. I was too busy working. I never acknowledged the fact of, you know, love in a family. So, you know, you work normally with the same kind of souls over and over in order for all of them to evolve. So yes, families can have karma.
You were also saying that we all come in with the same equal opportunities, or you know, nobody's coming in with less than anybody else, or?
Well, I'm just saying overall. In this, I'm just saying, if we think of all these people who have it all, in our opinion, it might be so that they have a lot in this life, but you might have had the same in you know, a past life, and next life they might have a little bit more of a struggle. So when we look at the overall lives that we, you know, have here, it's not that someone will pick, like, let's say we have 100 lives and someone gets 90 good ones and only 10 bad ones. That's not how the spirit realm works. So I'm just saying, in general, we have the same amount of fortune, the same amount of struggles. However, how we handle that, sorry?
Yes.
How we handle that might actually create that we actually get a little bit more, you know, challenges if we don't listen to all these signals that come forward. So, you know, it's a huge chain. Like I said, karma is that ripple effect over space and time, and it's a chain. And working, regardless if we work with past life regression or whatever personal and spiritual work that we do, it is to break certain patterns and to break and to not accumulate new karma that is not beneficial for us. Make sense?
What I think is interesting that's coming to my mind is, okay, so let's say that it sounds like we're all working on our own karmas coinciding, and, you know, different people's choices are impacting us. Absolutely. And kind of affecting our karma.
Yeah, exactly. We meet people that activate certain things within us that needs to be addressed. So let's say that we have, you know, if I can take myself as an example, I have had numerous life being a warrior. You know, I solved problems with my sword. My spirit team said, you know, and this was, you know, doing both past life and life between lives when I got this information. We want you to solve problem differently. So first of all, you will have to be a little female. so that you don't have the physical strength in the same way. Secondly, we're going to activate a lot of emotional aspects within your body. So you're going to be more inclined, that you will be challenged, but we want to see how you channel that decision. When I saw that pattern in several past lives, I thought, maybe I should solve my conflicts differently. It doesn't mean that my first instinct might be to take up my sort of mental sword to solve a conflict. But I have learned, and that is how we grow, of course. I have learned to, and of course with age, the same thing. I'm not a teenager anymore. So you can grow from that. But you will constantly be triggered in order for your code of karma, if you like, to change. Make sense?
Feels right. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at that as well. It feels like it's triggers, and you don't get away with certain things that other people might get away with. I feel like that happens as well for people, and you can see that they struggle differently than like the poor little rich girl, maybe super rich, no family. I mean, you can see people who seem to just be able to do well in, say, money. Money is no problem, but finding a relationship that they can trust and feel loved in, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, and I think one of the biggest things too is, and this is so, like, some people get so like flat out pissed off when you say this, and then other people, like, when I was like, oh, you mean I can do, have control over what this is, so it's when you take responsibility for your own life and quit comparing to other people, quit looking at the outside, quit looking at the grass is greener somewhere else, those kind of things, and you realize that really you do have complete control over everything in your life. Like, you chose what lessons you were going to learn when you came here. Now, I'm the first one to say, what the hell was I thinking, right? Because some of the lessons are really, really hard. So I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying, once you get to that place where you're like, oh, okay, well, obviously I wanted to learn this, or obviously I need to learn this, or whatever it is, you can then approach things a little bit differently. And I feel like what Dean's trying to say too is, when you can really tap into your intuition and really tap into your own divine guidance and really get more clear on a soul level what you need to be doing in this lifetime, I think it does make it more clear.
I would say that also something that our spirit guides have been talking about, which I also love, again, they're talking a lot in metaphors, which makes it easy to understand. They say that we choose, and go back to what we talked about here, some people have wealthy lives and, easy, lives. They talk about that we pick a life with or without shoes. If we have shoes, then we have less lessons to learn, because we don't feel all these, rocks underneath our feet. People who come in and choose a life, or are suggested by our spirit guides to pick a specific life, and we have it without shoes, we are barefoot. If you're barefoot and walking on like a, like those grubble rocks, then it hurts. Mm-hmm. However, that specific soul will gain so much more credit and evolve much faster than someone with shoes. They actually referred, and no judgment, but they actually referred to a lot of these people that we sort of look up to, social media, people that we feel, oh, these people have it all. When it comes to money and so forth, they actually talk a lot about that those people are with shoes. So just think of that without shoes, barefoot, we can have much more challenges, but we also have much more possibilities to grow than someone with shoes. They also talk about that those who are without shoes are more emotional, whereas the other ones are more intellectual. So, just think of these things, and place yourself, what do you think your current life is? Do I have shoes on, or am I barefoot? And if I am barefoot, okay, more challenges, but it's also much more transformation and healing to take place, and much more progress on a soul level for that person to evolve. This actually, you can find that even when I do like astrology readings, I can see if there is someone with or without shoes, for instance. And sometimes I actually refer to those with shoes. Maybe they are here on a bonus life. Maybe this is just a bonus life. We have all of these people that we feel that whatever they do, they just succeed. If they apply for a job, they get it. If they, go on a date, it becomes a success. So we compare constantly, and that is the first thing, to not compare, to just be, sort of in your bubble. What is it that I need to work on? What is it that my journey is all about? And none is the same.
I agree. I feel like that, if you look at your trials and tribulations, so to speak,
yeah,
in a eternal timeline, which is infinite, but if you look at that, you're going to go, okay, so having a Rolls Royce temporarily for essentially 1 second of your entire existence,
yeah,
pretty meaningless.
yeah.
And how quickly possessions or experiences kind of fade in the background. What really matters is the feeling of the love and the connection to the universal infinite truths of what we have in connection with each other. And I guess mastering our emotions and learning to heal and just co-create, I guess all those things are really more the soul's interest. Healing the rips and tears in our soul. I don't know if we have rips and tears. Maybe we have rips and tears in our code that we're healing or mending or fixing or replacing. Sometimes I feel I've come in to try to heal my family.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I have, since I do both regressions, both life between lives and past, there's a lot of information, exactly what you're saying here, that we can come in, and not necessarily pick a life where we work on our own karma, but we are here to help others work with their karma. So, all this information can actually come forward, doing a session like that, you might not necessarily have a lot of stuff in your coat that is triggered in this life, but you actually pick a life where you help someone else, a family member, for instance. So absolutely.
And so just because I know Carrie, she's so hard on herself all the time. And I'm like, just be in that space of what if, you know what I mean? Like, don't let this get so heavy, because there's so much healing that needs to be done on the planet, regardless of who you are, where you're at, what your status is, any of that kind of stuff. There's everybody that's here on the planet right now, there's healing work to be done, right? But if we can look at it from a higher perspective and look at it through the space of that we're going through ascension right now, and look at it, from different perspectives, and really be in a space of, I wonder what this is. I wonder what this means for me, right? Which is perfect, because then you can, these things like what Teen does with the past life regression, that can give you a little bit more insight of when you're going, I wonder what this means. You can get clarity in a session with her that might help you get to the next level, right? And that's valid, I think, with all of the different modalities that we have. I think even getting a reading, sometimes just a little bit of that aha moment can make a huge difference. The in between lives regression that I did with Teen was phenomenal to me. Like, it totally verified. I don't really know that I got anything new, but it completely verified what I already felt like my soul and my guides were leading me to. So it's just that extra confirmation or another little clue or something on your path, right?
Yeah.
But especially for Carrie, knowing how hard she is on herself, I'm like, just, it's okay to be in that, but be in a little bit more of a space of what if,
And I like what you say, because that's the whole thing. When we see things objectively, and I think Carrie was it that also said that, different things around us becomes such, non-important. When we start to see things objectively, we tune in on our soul and our, higher self, that I call it as well, and we see things for what it really is. That it's just a drama. We are dressing in different roles to create this drama, to create this little TV show, and to work things, and for ourselves, but also the to help others. Like I said, you might dressing to help a family member, for instance.
Teen, we're missing your audio again.
Sorry?
Oh, you were cutting out on your audio.
Did I?
There, I can hear you now.
Okay. I just said, I don't know if it was completely broken, but I just said that once we start seeing things objectively, and we can see this, that it is actually something that we dress for this drama in different ways, for ourselves and for others, then it becomes very clear that, and to think of the fact, shoes or no shoes, code of karma, all these things, in a way that it becomes comprehensible for us in our current life. I also want to say that this past life regression, since you only go to a meditative state, this session is actually online a lot as well. So it's a shorter version when we do it online in your own home. It both works really well. So people live. It's excellent that you can explore this, even if you don't have the possible someone close, for instance.
So for you do have a location in Lakewood, Colorado, right?
Colorado, that's where I'm at right now. That's where my office is.
So you can do that, or you can do it virtually. So you can do it over the phone for past life regression.
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally I work the either FaceTime or through Facebook Messenger. That has been the best line.
Okay.
So
Very
doing
good.
it, the session in person is 2.5 hours in total. The session online is 2 hours. So it's a little bit short. Each session begins with a 30-minute interview.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, is there more questions? We're pushing 11 right now, so we've been on for about an hour. I know we started a few minutes late, but we're getting really close. Does anybody have any other questions right now? I don't see anything in chat. I know that it said, Cindy said it makes a lot of sense, so she's resonating with this too. If there's not any other questions, what I'll do is I'll make sure that everybody that, if you guys were on the call, make sure that I have your information and your email. And what we'll do is we'll get, you have a special offer for everybody that you're going to email out, right?
So during the month of June, if anyone wants to try past life regression, whether it's online or if it's in person, it's a 15% discount.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yes, and I will send that off to those with a code for those who attended today.
Okay. So everybody that's on the call, please make sure, because I know there's a couple people on the phone and I'm not exactly sure who's on. So just be sure that you let me know. And is it okay if I just share it into my group? Can Absolutely. I do in my Facebook group? Okay, so I'll make sure that everybody, because I think almost everybody on here is in my Facebook group. So I'll make sure that it gets in my Facebook group. And then what I'll do is make sure that I'll let them know about your book, the links to your book, the link to your website, and all of those kind of things.
Yeah, and I will send the offer to those. You can just provide me the emails, and I will send the offer to those, so they have the needed. So I know who.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome. Well, if there's any other questions, I do want to remind everybody that Teen, look at her website, because she does offer quite a few things more than just a past life regression, but I specifically wanted to have her come in and talk about past life regression because I like the way that she approaches it. I like that kind of matter of fact, a little bit scientific kind of approach. And it does get kind of into the woo-woo because we do bring in the spirit guides and those kind of, our spirit team is there to help us with all of it. The in-between lives was phenomenal. Like I said, it really helped me verify the path that I was on anyway. But you do want to be with somebody that you do feel comfortable with. So Absolutely. Of course, you know, I've gotten to know Teen a lot over the last few years, and so I really resonate with her, and I like her approach. I like the way that she's solid and safe. So that being said, I would encourage you, if you are interested in past life regression, to reach out to her, and I will make sure that you guys have all the information.
Okay. Thank
So,
you.
and Tina's, Melissa's saying, thank you. Her guides were confirming the info, and it was hilarious validation for me. So her guides kind of have that funny personality too. So it was really awesome. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So thanks again for being here. Thank you, Teen, for coming on as my guest, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.